Welcome, all you beautiful beings out there, to the 8th installment of the Love-A-Lution podcast. Today, we have a very special Love-A-Lution-ary guest, the one, the only Jeffrey Phillips, a debater, musician, vegan anarchist, activist, truth warrior, and accountability watchdog of the truth movement. Jeffrey Phillips, how are you today?
That was a very nice introduction. I'm doing great.
Nice. Where are you coming to us in the world?
The West Coast, California.
Nice. Nice. La La Land or on San Fran area?
We're in Central
San
Coast.
Diego?
Yeah, Central Coast.
Oh, cool.
Used to be from LA.
Beautiful.
From LA.
Awesome.
Spent some time in the Bay Area too, so I've been all over California. It's a interesting spot.
Yeah, I lived there for 10 years, from 2002 to about 2012 in Newport, LA, and
That's where I'm from,
San
Newport
Fran.
Beach.
Oh yeah, wow.
Yeah.
I lived on 30th for a while.
Wow, I lived on 42nd.
Yeah. Yeah, I love surfing there. I started surfing out there, got my ass kicked by the waves, and anyway, back on the right coast. But anyway, we digress. So, brother, we want to get to know you today. How do we get back?
Yeah, he'll pop back up.
Okay.
And if we didn't introduce ourselves, but
yeah.
I'm Amy, also known as Spirit, and
Yeah, I'm John Paul. We're the Love-A-Lution. We got our 2 young sons, Angus and Sebastian, conscious family, right? Knowing and know thyself to love thyself, freeing your mind control, and knowing natural laws, aligning with them, objective morality. The more I was researching our buddy, Jeffrey, the more I realized we have a lot in common. Okay, we care about the animals, and we speak out for the animals because they don't have a voice. We got to speak out to our brothers and sisters out there in consciousness. All right. And peace starts on your plate. We got to.
I don't know what just happened.
There he is.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. So yeah, we were just going on about how peace starts on our plate. Yep. Oh, back to you, Jeffrey. What were your first 7 years like? Talk to us about your upbringing.
Yeah, I grew up in Newport Beach, which is a very interesting, strange place. Very unique place because of how much money goes through that place. And it's just, I was able to leave there at like 14 or 15 years old and go live with my father, who was lived on a sailboat. And we ended up sailing all over the west coast of the North America. And so luckily I was able to escape the orange curtain young enough to not fully deal with the repercussions of living in a place like that. I have a lot of friends and my siblings and stuff who have had a pretty hard time growing up there. There's a lot of old money and a lot of children of old money and grandchildren of old money, and like that kind of, you know, once you're living in that kind of environment long enough, you kind of evolve away from the rest of society, just because of the circumstance of most kids there are pretty rich, you know, and like tend to have kind of strange upbringings when you're surrounded with that much money. But yeah. So Orange County, I was able to leave, luckily.
There's Angus.
What's up, dude? Is that blue eyes there? Does he have blue eyes?
Yeah.
Yeah, rare.
Yeah.
I have blue eyes too.
We had him right. Yeah, we had him right here on the mountain. Free birthed it right at home, and
awesome.
She did, of course.
Yeah,
amazing. And,
I was born at home on a hippie commune in Santa Cruz, California. My mom was awesome and really ahead of the time, and raised me, or she had me at home with no drugs and raised me vegetarian. And I was pretty lucky. No vaccines, nothing like that ever in my life. So I was super lucky to have a very rare, cool mom during a period when there wasn't much, holistic stuff out there. There was like, kind of, it was like this late 70s. So it was like the end of the hippie thing, and kind of like a weird era. But yeah, my mom was pretty rad. I was very lucky. So
that's the best gift you can give your children. No vaccines, people.
Yes.
Best gift.
And I have noticed everyone's been sick around me my whole life, and like I just never really got sick, which was really cool because it looks miserable. And when I do get sick, the occasional kind I do get sick, I'm just like dying. I'm such a baby because I'm not used to it. But there, and I have a vaccinated child and an unvaccinated child, and my vaccinated child has been in and out of the hospital hundreds of times. It seems like, just with this, that, the other, all kinds of different, asthma, all these things, these skin problems, all kinds of stuff that my daughter just doesn't have, and she's never been sick. But yeah, it's not something, it's not good. It's poison, like it's like gross. Yeah. If we were supposed to have that kind of stuff in us, we'd have it in us. It's pretty gross.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's Jeffrey. So you didn't have religious like programs put in, really? More open-minded parents?
In Orange County, I like went to youth groups and stuff, and like I went to a private school for a while, and like so a little bit, but I never bought it. Like I was smart enough to be like, I don't really, this doesn't seem right. And then I was lucky enough to have my dad, who lived in Northern California, and he said he was like a sailor. And so I ended up in Northern California in Santa Cruz for a long time. And that's where I kind of, I was like teenager experimenting with drugs and alcohol, but like I'm from Orange County. And I grew up during the cocaine epidemic in Orange County, so I saw like a lot of bad stuff around drugs and alcohol. And so in Santa Cruz, I was really into punk rock music and stuff. And I met some friends that were straight edge, which is like was a movement back. It's still around, but it based out of the 80s, 90s, where it was like punk rock kids that didn't do drugs or drink alcohol or smoke cigarettes and listen to a specific type of hardcore punk rock music. And then I got really into that, and through that I found veganism, and that there was a niche group within this group of vegan straight edge people that were also vegan and animal rights activists and petty tyrannists, and so I got very heavily into that, going to concerts, doing animal rights tables at schools and concerts and supermarkets and all kinds of stuff back in the day. PETA, I did a lot of stuff with PETA. We actually did a PETA table at a recent Morrissey show. So Santa Cruz was really cool because I got into the vegan straight edge thing. And then I was a musician, and I was in a lot of bands, and I ended up going to Arizona for a while and being in a couple bands, and then ending up back in LA because I kind of always knew I was going to end up in LA for some reason. And LA consumed me like it consumes any young person who goes there, and I lost my touch with morality. I stopped being vegan. I started drinking alcohol, and I got in a band that got pretty big in the early 2000s. It was, I don't know if you guys remember MySpace. We were huge. We were the biggest band on MySpace. We were the first band on MySpace Records. So early social media. I took a band that I had that had never played a show or even rehearsed together and put it on the internet and made us big for the first time in history. No one had ever done that with a band.
Wow.
And so
Pioneer.
it was pretty,
yeah,
pretty fun time. But I had lost, like I said, I started eating meat again, drinking, abusing drugs. So I instead of doing that young, I did it later on in my late 20s as a musician in Hollywood, and then got burnt out on that. I knew that if I kept drinking like I was and just being a trash person in general, I knew it wasn't going to be great. And I was already an activist to begin with when I was young. And so I knew, like, the band I knew wasn't going to do anything to save the world, really. So I was like kind of not really fully into it in the back of my mind. And I still had a lot of vegan guilt. And so there was a period of time where I left the band, and I got really into doing libertarian and anarchist activism. And I was into paleo for a while, like eating only meat. And so I did all the extremes. And then finally, I had a friend who was in the libertarian, or who was not in the libertarian movement, but listened to a lot of my stuff. And she was like, this whole non-aggression principle thing, like that goes out to animals too, right? Like, you're pretty hypocritical, screaming from the rooftops about non-aggression principle and rights and stuff like that when you're eating meat and dairy. And at the same time, I was kind of learning more about the meat and dairy subsidies that go into animal agriculture. And that's clearly not libertarian or anything like that, putting billions of dollars into a fake market to prop up something that isn't supposed to be, economically viable.
Yeah.
So those two things, wanting to be as principled as I could be, really messed with my head. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm vegan again, and I think in our lives as people, like we only do, if you're a normal, somewhat good person, there's only so much harm, you're doing to the world. And what's on your plate is a huge amount of harm. Like, people like try and take it down, and marginalize, but when, like, you're that much harm is on your plate, like, you can't ignore it. And it sounds very hypocritical. And that's why, like, I'm very critical of lots of people within our movement, because it just looks ridiculous to me what their rhetoric while they're eating a hamburger, a cheeseburger, preaching all this stuff, this natural law stuff, as above, so below, like all this shit. And it's like, you don't get it.
You haven't gone all the way.
Yeah. We found the same we found the same problems within that movement. And we changed our diet 8 years ago together. We watched Earthlings, and basically after discovering Passio's work and checked that out, and I quit lobstering my job and meat in the same day. Wow. And we had a mortgage and a baby, and we just made it work, but we've made sacrifices like that ever since to integrate information, which most of these egos we're talking about, they're too big to integrate the truth. They think they're exempt from the truth or these laws in nature. And a lot of these people we don't resonate with as well. Yeah. So and we appreciate your bravery. Yeah, speaking for the animals. And because knowing natural law, you got to integrate and do as least amount of harm as you can, And Amy helped really lead to
it's not about just not punching your neighbor in the face, like it's easy to do. Like, the non-aggression principle people, it's like, are you really like patting yourself on the back because you don't get in fights every day? Because I don't understand what you're so proud about, when you're still doing so much harm in your life. And Yeah. So, and there's a lot of excuses in this movement. Mark Passio, back in the day would be like, hey guys, like just know you're doing wrong, to the carnists that still want to take all this time to do more harm for a while until they actually decide to stop eating meat. Mark used to tell people, like, know you're wrong, don't be anti-vegan if you want to hang out here. He said that many times, but it's never been enforced by anyone. And so you got these people talking about the keto diet on the network, and it's like,
Wow.
what? Like, not only is it the most subsidized food that you could even come across, but you're doubling down on it
in your body. Yeah,
you're doubling down on it by doing keto or carnivore. And the sketchiest thing is that meat and dairy industry has been taking a nosedive for the past 10, 15 years. And the only obvious response by the marketers of the meat and dairy industry would be to put more money into advertising, putting more money into influencers to convince people to eat more meat, which is what we got. The Dr. Bakers, the Paul Saladinos, the Mark Sissons, these guys all got millions of dollars handed to them to go lie to people about, and lie to people about their health and their children's health.
They say, you're evil
shocking.
they say you're a bad parent if you don't feed your child dead animal flesh.
Oh boy. I debated this. I interviewed this lady, Dr. Natasha.
Oh, we watched that one. That was a great one. Well done. Your patience was amazing. How much patience you had with that moron.
But go look at the comments. They all say I wasn't patient. It's so funny.
Wow.
They all said that she was the nicest person, and I screamed at her the whole time. It's so funny, the denial these people have been in. That woman, in my opinion, is up there with Satan. She's absolutely, she has, like, the groupthink involved and in this cult of Joe Rogan, let's just only eat meat and let's feed our children. I've seen so many carnivore mothers have babies come out and are in the hospitals for months. I've seen it happen 4 or 5 times. Michaela Peterson, just happened to her. And I'm seeing my vegan friends have vegan children that are flourishing, that have no problems whatsoever. Yeah, you guys, like, loads of people.
Yeah. No white coats involved. Yeah.
No, eating only meat when you're pregnant. Eating, forcing. Okay, so Dr. Natasha, for one, who knows if autism is health related? While being in good health will help any ailment you have, we don't even know that it's gut related or anything. So Dr. Natasha could be completely wrong just based on what she's doing. But as you saw when I went on the podcast with her, the bacteria from meat and dairy is the worst thing you could ever put in your gut. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, that causes all the bloating, right? Why we're so fat.
Bombarding your children with the worst bacteria you could ever bombard them with, while they have autism and they're already dealing with the issues around autism. It's mind blowing. And then these people are like, "Oh, you healed my child," and it's like, no. Autism tends to, when you work with it, get better over time. The body heals itself. Like all these carnivore dieters that are all, "Oh, I healed my body by eating all meat." It's like, no, you got better because you heal. People usually heal over time. Our bodies are amazing at fixing things. So while that child survived autism on the GAPS diet, you for one, set them up for problems later in life, health problems, and or completely did the opposite of what you should have been doing. But anyway, the denial around it and the cult mindset where everyone will just repeat and report to everyone, you know, like about how great these things are. But then we go into these. I'm a part of a lot of like carnivore groups, and I go in there and I see what these people are saying to each other, and I take screenshots and I go show everyone. All these people are dying eating this way.
Wow.
They're literally dying. They all have diverticulitis. They all have, you know, they're getting all these problems. This carnivore dieter I debated a couple times. I told him he was going to get scurvy, and like 2 weeks after our debate, he did a podcast where his just gums were bleeding, and it's like, dude, you have scurvy. That's like a pirate disease, bro. That's like something that no one gets scurvy in the 20th century. Like, no one's gotten scurvy since the 1800s. Like, that's crazy. Yeah. These people are completely in denial. But it's satanic.
Go ahead. Oh. I just hit this.
I think you're muted, Jeffrey.
Oh yeah, you're muted, brother. I think.
There we go.
There we go.
Back? Okay.
There we go.
So go
ahead, make that point in the last minute there.
The carnivore dieters that are convincing people to poison their friends and families. It's satanic stuff, and that's why you're seeing right now all the carnivore guys, now that they aren't getting paid anymore, they're like, oh, you know what? We were kind of wrong about that. You know, they're like, actually, I have my doctor, you know, my numbers are really, really bad. Like, these guys are all admitting to the testosterone's tanking, because if you don't have blood in your sugar, like sugar in your blood, if you don't have glucose in your body shuts down. You need, every cell in your body runs off of carbohydrates. And so it's like, you're just shutting all your guts down in your brain and your hormone system when you're doing this stuff. So it's really evil stuff that's happening. And, you know, it's a product of how things are right now, and, you know, the de facto Satanism going on.
Consequences.
The consequences are bigger than you, right? And these people promoting that poison and violent worldview, it's coming back and biting them on the ass.
People don't like seeing health problems like their karma, you know? They really don't want to admit that it's karma, but it's like the biggest karma, obvious karma.
So we wanted to ask you about cannibals. Are we cannibals or carnivores? What do you think? We say we're cannibals because
we're definitely cannibals. Because we're definitely not carnivores. We're not obligate carnivores. We are cannibals because we are. And in my opinion, animals are we're in the same species as them. So, you know, we're, especially, you know, if you want to get really gross about it, you go look at the anatomy of pigs. Pigs are very close to humans. They're very smart. You know, eating pig is like, gross. And you know, there's a lot of religious, you know, groups don't eat pig because it's like,
I know,
they're too close to us.
Okay, so because we always thought we're cannibals because you cut one of us up, we'll taste just like a pig. And in fact, a lot of fast food places are getting caught with human parts in their food. And we had a premonition years ago that they're feeding us to us, basically. And so why would you trust any of those, you know, grocery store, fast food, or any restaurants to feeding you, you know, nutrition?
Yeah, I definitely agree.
What do you know, brother, about fruitarian or breatharian? Do you ever?
I know a lot of. We've, you know, being vegan, there's a lot of raw foodists and frugivores around. If I lived in like a fruit forest in Hawaii or something, it would be totally, you know, and I mean, doing raw till 4 is kind of like the city way of doing raw. So it's like it's not the easiest thing, but if you can do it, it's it's kind of like supposed to be what we're eating. I believe we're
so
frugivores. I
raw
think we're
fruits
frugivores.
till 4
Yeah.
in the afternoon.
If everyone could plant a fruit tree, you know, every week or something.
I know.
The
That's
future
what we're trying to do.
generation. Nice. That's
Yeah.
important.
Nice. So, so what's the dumbest thing you've heard as a rebuttal from a meat eater, a meathead?
Oh boy. It's almost like it's all on the same level of dumbness, because it's worse when it's people I know that are smart, you know. I'm like, and it's funny because like on Facebook I have loads of trolls that go crazy on me for the vegan stuff, but the second we agree on something, they're like, ah, and it's like they, you know, they know that they're compromising themselves when they use these arguments. But I would think that the statement of more animals are killed for vegan food than for animal food is probably one of the dumbest things. And this idea was perpetuated by Ted Nugent a couple years ago on the Joe Rogan podcast. He made this statement that for every soybean, you know, every bird within a 30-yard area needs to be killed. Every animal needs to be killed, and all this stuff. When, oh boy, the meat industry. So cows, people think that cows are just happy cows in California on a field eating grass, and that's all it is. But we feed plants that we grow to animals at a deficit, right? You got to feed a cow billions of calories to get millions of calories out of it, because it's pooping, it's peeing, it's sweating, there's methane coming out of it. It's processing billions of calories to make millions. So people don't like that idea because it really puts holes in that whole argument. Because we actually could easily feed the world. We produce more food than we need, quite a bit more, but we feed most of it to the cattle and meat and dairy industry, and now at this deficit. So it's like, if you're an economics guy at all or into math at all, you know, you can see by doing the numbers that it's economically insane to do things how we do it. And you wouldn't be able. There wouldn't be dollars.
It don't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. There wouldn't be a meat and dairy industry if there wasn't a state. And that's why, like, I go to a lot of. I try and involve myself with as many liberal vegans as possible, because they're like 2 steps from being anarchist vegans. But the whole 2-party paradigm thing. There's no vegan political group, you know, like each side promotes, you know, and puts money towards the meat and dairy industry, no matter what. There's no, so these people that are liberal or conservative vegans, you know, it's pretty easy to talk to them out of that, because there's nothing vegan about the state at all. The state perpetuates, you know, hell on earth, war and factory farming, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said, brother.
That's why we don't send our kids to these institutions. They're terrible.
What do you say about those people that say, "Oh, you need that fat for your brain. The brain needs the meat and the cholesterols and the meat," or some baloney?
No, it's all BS. It's all pseudoscience. What you do when you eat, what happens to your body when you eat meat is that your brain puts you in fight or flight. It makes you more aggressive. It produces, you know, hormones, and allows your body to eat that meat, because your brain's going, oh, this guy's fighting for his life, or he's in a life or death situation, because we weren't meant to eat meat all the time. We are able to eat meat if we need to. We're supposed to be eating plants and vegetables, which are the easier foods to find. Why would you go fight something to the death when you could just go pick something off a tree? You know,
Right. That's why we have the thumb to grab the fruit.
Exactly, to pull
We
the
always
fruit off
said
the
the
tree.
Alaskan shows. We always say the Alaskan shows would be boring if they're eating PB&Js or
Yeah, those survival shows that everyone watches. It's like they don't need to be doing that outside hunting the whole time.
No,
They just-
hunting's not good, efficient use of energy.
We
There's
can't
this
stand hunters.
there's this ultra runner, ultra marathon runner. This guy that runs like 300-mile races, right? And every year for like the past 7 years, he's been going with a bow and arrow to try and hunt down a gazelle pack, right? And he has not yet gotten one. And he's an ultra runner, a guy who is superhuman talent, basically, someone who could run 3 times farther than a normal human. He hasn't been able to bag a single one of these deers. So it's like, how were they doing it? I mean, sure, there are ways you can you know, there are different ways of chasing down animals where you have a bunch of people and you have a supply line or something, but it's horrendously inefficient compared to planting crops and gathering stuff. We live in California. The area we're at, we see remnants of the Native American population eating acorns. There's these holes in rocks where they ground stuff, ground the acorns into patties. Like, they ate acorns out here. Yeah, and pine trees and stuff. And yeah, there's yucca plants. I love the yucca plants. When the yucca plant flowers, there's these little buttons of food on them that taste like the inside of a broccoli stalk, you know, tastes so good. And you could literally live off of one of these yucca plants like in a whole day. It's like a ton of food. The area we're in is like the foraging capital of the world. It's really cool. We have a lot of interesting geology here going on, which makes it an interesting foliage. And it's pretty cool. I don't know how I got on that subject, but
are you guys by Pismo Beach? No,
we are near Pismo.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I've been
Central Coast.
I've been up and down that Route 1 there. It's a beautiful drive.
Oh yeah, it's the cornucopia of the world. The Great Central Valleys. We got a lot of good produce here.
Yeah.
I think people are scared to stop eating meat and cheese. They think, oh, how boring, you know, without this stuff. They don't realize that's the stuff that's boring. That's the stuff that tastes.
Yeah. Oil.
That takes me to the next question too. What do you think prevents the meatheads from making a change? You know, do you think it's family pressure, peer pressure,
tradition, of course, societal pressure overall,
convenience?
My daughter didn't want to have anything with eating animals until she went to school, and she came home and was like, meat makes me strong. I'm like, whoa, brainwashing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, people don't want to do anything they don't want to do. And, you know, it takes a lot to get someone to give up carnism. We've been brainwashed since birth for generations and generations, to continue this tradition that isn't, in line with natural law. It's not in line with, you know, it's like I was saying, it's economically inefficient. Which is a sure sign. If the market says it's not going to work, the market says it's not going to work, but our government props it up with billions of subsidies to keep it going, or else hamburgers would be $200 if you got the real dollar amount of like the harm done to the environment, the harm done to our bodies, the harm done to the economically going on, us all having, and like us as vegans, we have to pay, our tax dollars goes towards those subsidies. We have no choice, you know, and like, you know, it's all about agorism and lowering the amount of taxation you allow, lowering the amount of government you allow into your life, and lowering the amount of taxes you contribute. But, you know, we can't get rid of everything. You know, we got to drive sometimes, you know, like we got to buy food, you know, so those tax dollars goes towards meat and dairy, whether we want it or not, which is bullshit. Whether there's a libertarian president or a Republican or, you know, a Democrat, it's going to be they're going to be putting money into meat and dairy because these people are all immoral scumbags, basically. So,
Yeah.
you know,
And that, yeah. With that, we're eating fear, we're eating death and low frequency, right? So we're going to stay in a low frequency of fear, death, and then they can easily control us. Where love and the higher frequencies create a world they can't control. That's from George Orwell's 1984. But a love-illusion, they definitely won't be able to control. When we unite in love, in truth, that'll lead us to freedom. You know, that care for truth, with loving thyself, knowing thyself, and we can care for the animals, pull them out of their misery as well as humanity. Like you're saying, simultaneously, we can free ourselves, you know?
Yeah, the hormones that are released by these animals in these farms, especially the last minutes of their life, is still in their bodies, and that's mammalian hormones that transfer to our bodies. And you know, everybody's wondering why they're sick and depressed. It's pretty obvious to me. You know, if you're eating something that was that sad, that's going to transfer to you in some way.
Absolutely. Yeah. We are what you eat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Children's clothes are made for meat eaters too. We've noticed, like,
the sizes are so huge for like a 4-year-old. Holy cow. Because we're blowing them up with the dead, decaying animal flesh that gives off the noxious gases, and we get fat and bloated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we stink. Yeah.
And we smell.
So stinky.
Yeah, we're leaching all that crap. Even a meat eater's crap you can't even put in your garden because it's toxic and it'll kill
they're polluting our environment quite a bit, and we have to deal with it, and we're the assholes.
Yeah, we're the
yeah, and we don't stuff a turkey's ass on a certain day. We think it's wonderful
religiously. Like this is a weird blood cult you guys are in, right? You know, you're like sacrificing animals every day. I mean, every day, and then on top of the ones you're already doing, then there's a day where you're holocausting billions of turkeys just out of some goofy tradition.
Yeah, like mini rituals, Satan rituals in everyone's homes. I mean, it hit me so crazy. Yeah. Also, this I want you to take this info in. So we all know the right gas for our cars, right, Jeffrey? We know you don't put milk in your gas tank, you won't go very far. But we don't know the right gas for our own bodies. Holy cow. And constantly we're putting the wrong gas in.
Yep.
And our bodies are miraculous machines, incredibly strong, but they're not running close to optimal levels, you know.
Yeah.
But
definitely true.
I have a quote here, amazing quote. Oh, as long as we massacre animals, we will kill each other indeed. They who sow the seeds of death and pain cannot reap the joy of love.
Is that Tolstoy?
I think it's P. Aaron's or something. I kind of messed up the.
Yeah.
But as long as we massacre animals, we will kill each other. Indeed, they who sow the seeds of death and pain cannot reap the joy of love. And that's what we are deep down. Love is that frequency.
And that we have to repay for every animal's life we take, you know? So that's a lot of garbage, a lot of baggage. It's heavy.
A lot of karma. Wow.
Well, especially like the Bible people are really funny because like you said, we have to pay, you know, and like that's like go back to the Hindu religion. The Hindu religion is like every animal you take, man, is going to come back and take chunks out of you in the afterlife. And you know, the religious people who say, oh, I was commanded to eat meat, that's not actually me and my wife, we've dived quite a bit into this subject. He said it was during the flood. You know, Eden is vegan. In Genesis, he talks about Eden being vegan and his God's future ideal being vegan. And then you have the flood, and after the flood, there was no plants, right? Because they had all been washed away. And they were in the desert, and eating manna, which was algae. And they were complaining because all they had was algae, and God begrudgingly was like, all right, you guys could eat meat and animals, but only these certain animals, and one day you're going to have to deal with the karmic repercussions of what you're doing. Like there will be some sort of karmic debt or blood debt that you're going to have to face at some point. It wasn't like, oh no, you have to eat meat. And dominion means stewardship, doesn't mean factory farms, you know. And you know, he was like, only a certain kinds of meats you can eat and stuff like that. So these people are all, you know, completely full of it. And if you really look into the Bible, and especially even the earlier non-canonical stuff, there was a lot of big vegetarian and carnist problems going on. There were huge societies, the Essenians, that did not eat flesh. And if you look through the Bible, almost every character you meet, they tell you whether it was a flesh eater or not eventually. It's very interesting. I was blown away by how much vegetarian rhetoric there is in the Bible. And if you're a carnist, you blow right through you blow right past that stuff. You don't even think about it, you know? And so I've shown some of these people some of the stuff, and like the Jesus eating fish. When you go back and look at earlier scriptures, he didn't even come, like, he was just gone out of the cave. He didn't get up and walk around and eat fish. So it's like there's a lot of really suspicious stuff. The eating lamb on Passover. The Essenians actually did Passover the day before the regular the Jews did, and the Essenians didn't eat flesh, so they ate bread and wine, which if you look at a lot of the older scripture stuff, that's all they ever ate was bread and wine, and maybe like a couple other things. But there wasn't, you know, there's no, you ask any of these guys, okay, show me where it says he ate lamb, and they can't, because it's not in there. It just says he ate Passover, but they don't know that he's Essenian. He's Nazareans, and the Nazareans were Essenian. So it's been a lot of fun diving into these things, you know, going deeper into debunking these smart people that say this dumb shit, defending this position that they didn't decide to become meat and dairy eaters. It was forced on them when they were children. And libertarians really don't like when I tell them that, because they're like, no, you know, and it's like, no, this was forced on you. You didn't make a decision. So, like, why are you defending?
I didn't have a choice growing up.
The children had a choice. Hey, Johnny, would you like to eat chicken or an apple for lunch?
Yeah.
If he had a choice, he'd probably choose the apple. We don't give him choices.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
no choice. Yeah.
Put a uncooked chicken on the ground and put some watermelon on the ground and let your kid pick one they want. You know, like, hello. Meat doesn't taste like anything. Fruit tastes amazing. You eat fruit, it explodes in your brain. You know, it's all like nothing is better than fruit. And, you know, raw meat doesn't taste like anything. Isn't that a little weird, guys? Don't you think, like, if you're supposed to eat something, it would be, like, really tasty to you? Or you'd have some, like, urge to go tackle a cow and start gnawing on it like a carnivore, if you're really a carnivore, you know? Like, there's too many stupid... Everything they say is pretty bad. And, like, I have friends that still are carnist people, meat eaters and stuff, and they're all like, no, I would never debate you veganism because you win. Like, it's not the moral position. I just don't care, you know? And that's like very rare that I come across that, or that people are just like, I just don't really care about animals. But I believe that you have the more moral position. All these guys want to say, oh, I'm allowed to do it because it's healthy for me. Healthier, I think it's healthier, so I should be able to take these animals, this sentient being's life. And they want to make it not a moral argument when it's a moral argument to begin with.
Morality number one.
Yeah.
Then it's like environmental and health stuff that can come later, but like it's a moral argument to begin with. And,
that's the high ground.
Yes. like you said with that quote, like Leo Tolstoy said, as long as there are slaughterhouses, there'll always be, or as long as there are slaughterhouses, there'll always be battlefields. And it's like, these guys just don't get that, like, the law of correspondence, that's what's going on right now. And then the moral relativists don't think that morals exist and that we can just completely do whatever we want and cause as much harm as possible, and it doesn't matter because I guess life just sucks and there's nothing you could do about it, you know.
Like fish
okay.
too. No, the fish don't get any respect because they're slimy and smelly. But I've been a fisherman, and you know, they feel pain like 10 times worse on their externally, like a fish flapping on the pavement, you know. So
I've killed millions of fish.
If you love yourself, you take that animal, no matter what it looks like, as yourself. Because you don't want to harm anything.
You wouldn't want to be hooked up, you know, when you're swimming along, enjoying your day. Exactly. Don't do to others what you wouldn't want done to you.
It's wild when I have people that are just like, no, it doesn't matter. And it's like, you wouldn't want to be killed, right?
You
know, like, how is this so hard for you to understand? You wouldn't want to be killed for no reason, correct?
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, it doesn't matter. And it's like, okay, so that means there's nothing that humanity can do to make life better or make things better than they are now. That's what you believe, really? Like, we have no control over making the world a better place? Like, that's what the moral relativists are saying, basically. There's no control. We have no control over our condition and our environment.
And they have no imagination, too.
It makes no sense.
Dead.
It makes no sense.
Deep hate.
True. Yeah.
Well, it's easier just to hate, you know? It's easier than to have to actually do the work. And it's easier to blame. Everybody loves outward pointing. Nobody wants to change anything about what's going on in their own minds. And that's where we're stuck. And we've been taught that by our handlers to just burn. We've been trained not to be able to. We haven't been trained correctly at making communities. They don't want us making communities because in communities we can get the idea to overthrow them. They don't want us getting along. So we've been trained to burn bridges over mild differences in opinion. My podcast, it's a spicy podcast, but we've gone through a lot of fucking people, man, and like a lot of smart people. Not that they left because they're not smart, but the reasons, people are like, oh, I don't really go on the show anymore. Oh, he got met, he said once that like owning a new car is like a really status thing to do, like buying new cars, and so like I'm mad at him because of that. And it's like, well, it's true, bro. Like it's true. Like so you're getting mad because of the truth. You came to my show because of the truth, but then you're getting mad at me because I've finally pointed at something that you don't want to change. Like the materialism, really, like people really, and just like the like, okay, I'm an anarchist now, but I'm still going to go to my tax-paying job and I'm still going to try and buy a house, and like buy a big house and buy new cars and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, well, you're not an anarchist. And those people get so mad. They get so mad. And it's like, you aren't practicing what you preach. And that's what happened with my show. I started my show just a normal vegan natural law show, and it turned into what it is naturally because of all the fakers that are just lying to people and trying to, these fake shaman that are trying to teach people stuff for money and sell people things, and this like snake oil salesman mentality that's going on in our circles. And so it's like I don't want to do the podcast that like I would rather do more stuff, but like I can't be a part of something and see people just shitting on it because it's I want to be a part of this community, but I can't because it's full of so many fakers. And so like I'm having to point this stuff out on the show.
Yeah, you keep being that strong lighthouse of truth, brother. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, that's like us. We're here on our own island. Almost feels like with people and their heads so far up their rear ends, and you know, talking about the majority of humans, of course.
Yeah.
How do you deal with? How do you balance yourself? How do you de-stress and unwind, or what do you like to do with your free time?
I mean, the podcast is very enjoyable to me. So many of my detractors are like, "You're so angry," and I'm like, "I love doing this." Like, like this is fun. Me and my wife, we're
You know,
avid.
you like
What's
yeah,
that?
you like to ride bikes, right? Ride
Yeah, we're
the
big
road bike.
endurance
Yeah.
cyclists. We go do we ride road cycling and gravel cycling. We do races and stuff like that. I've chilled out with the races though. These days I just kind of ride behind the race with some tools and help people work on bikes. But Allie's a superhero, like on a bike. She's
Wow.
super fast and can just ride all day. She'll go do like 130-mile ride that has like 9,000 feet of elevation, like up in the mountains. She does crazy. And then I got all these guys on Facebook being like, vegans are weak, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm 47 and I'm beating dudes in races that are half my age that eat meat and dairy all day,
Yeah.
and the truth is, you know, you, you can't look vegan. You can't look like a meat eater. Like you look how you look, like, mostly because of genetics. Like, sure, you can get fat if you're eating like crap, but like this whole one's healthier than other versus, like it's back to this health argument that isn't the moral argument.
Yeah, because
And
the health is out from the inside out, so you can't
yeah,
really see your
yeah.
health.
And
Yeah.
vegan isn't a brick of a product that is something that all vegans eat. You can be a very unhealthy vegan. When I was a kid, when I was 17 and vegan, I was horrendously unhealthy. All I ate was red vines and soy milk all day, because it was like a time there was not, it was in the 90s. It was very hard to be vegan, and like I just thought, since I wasn't eating at McDonald's, that I was healthy, but I was actually like severely allergic to soy, and I was drinking it every day. So it was just like, it was awful. But you can be very, 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 you could be the healthiest person in the world vegan, or you could be the unhealthiest. It's all about how you do it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
same for, people who eat meat and dairy. They could be super freaking healthy, or super unhealthy. So this whole
Hey,
vegans are unhealthy or whatever, like it's just it's just white noise. It doesn't matter. Like none of these arguments really matter except the moral one.
Yeah, and the ego does not like being told that you've been fooled. Sorry, you have to make a change.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot accept that.
Well, that's why vegans are so shit on, because we remind immoral people of what they're doing wrong. If we weren't here, no one would have to think about, the fact that they killed 4 animals a day just eating, and it's like we never, it's complete imbalance. And it's funny because I get so much flack from these guys, and it's just like, it's not hard. Well, Mark said a couple things that the Carnists in the network really like dwelling on. The fact that that it's unhealthy to go vegan overnight. That's a BS excuse. It's one of the few things I horrendously disagree with Mark on. I've personally gone vegan overnight twice. I've watched people on my show go vegan overnight. I had a vegan doctor named Peter Rogers, who's a badass. Harvard doctor, legit doctor, real doctor, say that there was absolutely no problem going vegan overnight. There's nothing your body doesn't like about its natural diet. Like going back to your natural diet doesn't cause problems. Yes, there's an addiction going on in your head, but it doesn't harm you to stop it. Also, the that one I hear a lot of people use that excuse. Oh, I'm gonna go vegan someday, and Mark took 12 years, so that means I could take as long as I want, basically. And it's just like I hear that as just like, I'm gonna keep being immoral for a while until I start having health problems, then I'll consider going vegan. And it's just like, bro, what are you even doing in this circle? You know, like, you're completely contradicting everything you say. And the other one is the go fix humans first, then veganism after. Mark said that a bunch of times. And I go out into the vegan community, which is mostly liberal. And in that community, they're very like, oh, only focus on vegans. Don't do anything that has to do with humans fixing themselves. And I go to both these guys and go, hey, well, can't we chew gum and walk at the same time? You know, can't you be a human rights activist and eat vegan for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Is it really that hard? Because I've seen so many guys, especially on the network, they say, oh, that's their excuse. And it's just like, you heard Mark say that once and you ran with it and you're using it as an excuse, and it's kind of a bummer. And because Mark thinks we need to fix the humans first. He gives everyone the out to not take veganism seriously, which is kind of a bummer. And he's not ever going to call him out on it because he thinks it needs to be a personal choice. We've all heard what he said before, but it bums me out because I feel he's left a lot of people in the cul-de-sac because of that mindset, because we can be human rights activists and vegan activists at the same time. I recently interviewed Gary Yourofsky, who's a badass vegan.
Yeah, we saw that one. That's a great one.
Yeah. And he doesn't think we should focus on human stuff at all. And I'm like, both these sides are wrong. It takes fixing what's in humans to spread veganism, and vice versa. Like Leo Tolstoy, imagine if we went vegan. Wouldn't the obvious next step be to stop killing humans after that? If we could stop killing animals, and vice versa, it's like it both needs to happen at the same time. But these people take these positions of, no, we need to focus. We need to put all our effort into humans, or we need to put all our effort into animals. And it's like, okay, well, this is why we're not getting anywhere,
Yeah.
Obviously, this is why we're not getting anywhere.
I think, like he's saying, we can do both, or like you say, humans, it's tough though. We have that fixed BS belief system where animals, we all see these animals getting tortured, and anyone with a heart wouldn't want anything to do with it. The people in these factories that change over because they don't want anything to do with it. It's all wrong. And they probably wake up with freaking nightmares, the people that doing this stuff. Man.
Yeah. The fact is, they specifically get people out of the prisons, out of the military, low income. They target these people to go work in these factories where they destroy their brains. And it's so funny when I see carnists, they're like, oh, it's just me. It's just animals. It's just animals. It's like, no, dude, like, you're dumping your karma on some guy that has to slit cows' fucking throats all day. You think you're not affecting that guy by paying him to do that? And they think they're absolved of the karma of that. It's like, no, like, you're putting, you're getting bad karma because you're putting all your karma on that guy. It's not just animals being harmed. And in wherever they put a factory farm, crime goes up in that area. Pollution goes up in the area. Asthma, all this shit. Yeah. Like, it's never
the aggression, the violence. Yeah.
You don't have a factory farm where fruits and vegetables are growing out of it, it's the complete opposite. It's hell on earth. And it's really gross that they target, they get, oh, you're in prison. Oh, guess what? We got a job for you when you get out. Killing animals all day. Wow. That's really going to help that person. That's really going to rehabilitate that person. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's almost like, sorry, go ahead, honey.
I saw that video of the cow being murdered on your wall, Jeffrey. It was so sad.
The haram? No, not haram. What's it called?
That
the
was crazy.
halal,
With
the halal cow. Yeah,
Oh my
they're
goodness.
in order
Of
for
course.
their religious, for their the Muslim religion requires the cow to be hung upside down and blood and its throat cut while it's alive, for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah, dumb beliefs. Another
Yeah.
belief. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beliefs are lies we tell ourselves. We got to know thyself and know the truth, not believe. Don't believe some
1 second,
dipshit
please.
lies. Look, do your own research, folks. But anyway, we
Actu-
wanted to end it,
We have so many
Jeffrey,
more
with some
questions.
yeah, we got so much. This is kind of just an intro talking with you because we're gonna, but we can only usually do an hour. We got kids and whatnot.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But we want to give this kind of rapid fire questions. Have you ever spent a night in jail?
I have. One night.
All right. All right. It sucks, huh? Yeah. We
Yeah, no,
had
it
to.
was awful. I was like 17 or 18 or something when it happened. It was just, I'd just not gotten some ticket taken care of. And they just threw me in overnight just to make sure that I took care of my tickets next time. And it was very, very, very miserable for sure.
Well, yeah, it's terrible what we do to each other as a species.
I'm not sure it
how
taught
about
me
you ever-
anything.
No, nothing at all. But how about Sasquatch? You ever seen Bigfoot out in the woods?
Nope.
No. Okay. Any UFO encounters
I've
or
seen
non-terrestrials?
I've seen some crazy lights in the sky, especially around some military bases. But I can't say if they were extraterrestrial.
Gotcha. All right. Wow. What else do we have here? Rapid fire for Jeffrey. Oh, are you a day bird or a night owl?
Daybird.
Yeah. Okay. And do you have any pets?
Yes. We have a dog named Bubba.
Dog?
Bubba Kush.
Oh,
Nice.
Bubba. That's what our youngest son calls his brother, Bubba.
Oh, that's cool. It's an easy one.
Yeah, exactly. Easy. And what motivates you every day?
Woo.
Well, that's not a kind of a quick one, but yeah, you go ahead, answer that one. We got another for you.
Love.
Nice.
Yep.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah.
Nice. And what would you say to the youth if you had a room full of young kids? What would you say to them?
Oh.
Teenagers, you know? Well, you have kids yourself that age.
Yeah. So. I'd dang. I actually, I have on my YouTube. I have a series that I'm doing that's like health, that's life advice for kids and people that aren't kids.
Yeah.
And
adult kids, yeah.
Adult kids, yeah. Geez, don't go to college. Don't buy a new car. Don't have like debt. Don't have like buying a house as your life purpose. Yeah, don't listen to your parents, don't listen to the government. Like, I don't know, like that's a tough one. Don't listen to, just go against the grain, do the opposite of what everyone else does, or think the opposite. When the media tells you something, assume it's bullshit. Maybe that's a good one. When someone tells you something, assume it's bullshit and research to find out if it's true. Maybe that's a good one.
Absolutely, because they rely on us not checking facts.
Oh, yeah, ignorant. They do. I mean, looking back at like being a kid in school and like believing everything they told us, I'm like, Jesus Christ, they really figured out how to do that to us, because we believe everything we were taught in school. We fight to the death, and it's like Mark says, unlearning the bullshit propaganda that we were filled up with growing up. And it is harder than just learning a different political position. It's unlearning everything you know, and questioning every thought you make and why you're doing every move you make, and being like, wait, is this is this me or is this someone else, you know, making me think this way or do this certain thing or have this certain behavior? That's the whole shadow work thing.
Yes.
Questioning when you get pissed off about something, questioning that. When you get triggered by something, questioning that, and being like, why should I be reacting this way? That should be something you're asking yourself quite a lot. It's not all, you know, like especially with the libertarian anarchist movement, there's a lot of finger pointing at the government and everything, but it's us that have allowed this to happen. Our complacency and our inactivity, and arguing on the internet and pointing fingers on the internet is not activism. A lot of people think it's activism. That's all they got to do is go online and talk about their beliefs, and you got to do more stuff. And you got to practice what you preach before you think you can teach anything to anybody. You got to, and not bullshit yourself about practicing what you preach. I can see a lot of people bullshitting themselves, thinking, I've watched all of Mark's work. That means I am done, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and that's like, you know, or I've taken his media course. That means I am done. I'm up there with Mark, or, you know, whatever. and really, like, after that, then you take your first steps in actually like changing yourself. Once you've learned everything, then you got to go do it in the world. But yeah, guys, thanks. I don't know. We're 6 minutes past,
Amazing advice, Jeffrey.
Yeah, great
Awesome
advice.
Thank you so much. We tried to meet Jeffrey. This was the third time. The third time is the best time. And we're here.
And let's do it again. And you guys should come on my podcast sometime.
Yes. Yeah, we'd love to. And then anytime
you
want to come out to the far east coast of Maine, the rugged, bold
Maine's
coast.
beautiful. Holy cow.
Yeah, we're right next to Canada and very rural, off the grid.
Wow.
And we're doing it by ourselves mostly, but we appreciate you all the way over there in Cali taking the time, speaking the truth to the youth and all the others that'll listen. You know, knowing thyself, to love thyself, freeing our mind control. It's real. The work we got to do on ourselves is real. And look, we got to dissolve our egos. And thank you, Jeffrey, for taking the time. And Allie, thank you. Next time we can.
Allie and Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Just saying,
Hey
Allie.
guys.
Hey, Allie.
And we'll do it again sometime soon. Where can we find your work, Jeffrey?
YouTube, youtube.com/@Jeffrey Phillips and youtube.com/Light Occult Revival for Allie.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for everything you do. We love you.
We love you. Love-A-Lution. Peace, brother.